Welcome to occasional market analysis now that it is not daily anymore. And starting things off with Nifty's daily chart, I will hide RSI as well. We just need the candles for now. So candlesticks हम लोग को क्या दिखाते हैं कि आज नीचे टेस्ट किया था, लोअर लेवल्स टेस्ट किए थे, एंड द लो दैट वी कैन सी हियर इज 326 17326 का लो किया था, which is roughly 40 points below yesterday's low. So मतलब काफी deep down गया था. But then to be very honest, we can see here, okay, this zone of sorts. ठीक है, ये जो zone जैसा है, यहाँ से ये टाइम पे प्राइस ने बाउंस किया था. मैं ऐसा क्यों बोल रहा हूँ? क्योंकि हम लोग यहाँ पे विक्स देख सकते हैं और ये भी गैप डाउन हुआ, उसके बाद वहां से ऊपर आ गया था. This was also a good candle, and after that we saw a fairly healthy sort of price spurt, if you can call it that. So वो level retest करके ऊपर आया है, and in my view that's a good sign. EOD it's managed to close 165 points plus, and bear in mind this is after a gap up open. So gap up open किया, fill कर दिया वो gap. और मैं आर्ली चार्ट नहीं दिखाऊंगा, ये टाइम 15 मिनट्स का चार्ट दिखाऊंगा, विच इज़ अ गुड बैलेंस आई फील, क्योंकि आर्ली फिर 5 मिनट वो सब ज़्यादा चार्ट देखने नहीं है मुझे आज. आई विल जस्ट शो यू व्हाट्स रेलिवेंट टुडे, एंड दिस इज़ व्हाट वी आर लुकिंग एट. सो यहाँ पे काफ़ी एक इंटरेस्टिंग सा कैंडल बना है, right? This is like a hammer pattern almost, and from there it's gone up fairly vertically, except for this big candle. I think ये वाला जो candle था, मैं सिर्फ वही highlight करता हूँ, ये वाला that would have been the real danger, because this is when most people, I presume, would have gotten stopped out, because even if you would have entered here, right at this low, chances are your trail would have been somewhere around here. ठीक है, वो ट्रेल हिट करके ऊपर गया वापस, और काफी ऊपर गया. ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब नाम के वास्ते ऊपर गया. इट्स गॉन अप 110 पॉइंट्स आफ्टर रीटेस्टिंग दैट लेवल. So I think it was a fairly tricky day in that respect. So that's my view on Nifty, daily chart and the 5 minute chart. In terms of levels, ठीक है, अगर levels की बात करें तो मेरे हिसाब से ये वाला जो जोन हम लोग ने बात किया वो तो है ही. 380 to 400 we've always discussed. Now though, I think this level right here, which is just above today's high, which was 17th September's closing price, I think that will be very important to see, as well as 640-ish levels. So देखते हैं क्या होता है. Again, 820 का fib extension है. Obviously वो it's not because fib extension से resistance आया है. It just happens to be around that area. So let's see how it actually shapes up. To give you a broader perspective of how it looks like, this is what Nifty is looking like. काफी ऊपर आया है और बीच में ऐसे रोड बम्स तो होने ही वाले हैं. Next up is Bank Nifty. Right, Bank Nifty, we can see a ton of levels here on Bank Nifty's daily chart, and the candle for today is actually very interesting. अगर मैं बस लो से हाई, रादर लो से क्लोज का देखो, और ऑलमोस्ट परफेक्ट डोजी लगता है मुझे. ओपन इज 238 and closes 235, so 3 point का difference, which is like what, 0.01%. Okay, so Bank Nifty was able to recover upwards of 700 points from its lows, which is honestly pretty nuts, because you can just imagine how much possible potential ROI that could be. So that's good. Now, in terms of levels, again, we've seen this 36 455-ish level being into play. So वो लेवल तो है ही. लो देख सकते हैं 525 है, तो उससे अराउंड 70 पॉइंट्स ऊपर था. 70 पॉइंट्स ने, उससे थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया, 80 पॉइंट्स ऊपर था. बट ठीक है, आई डोंट थिंक दैट इज़ अ कंसर्न. द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज it's a very odd candle, because आई डोंट थिंक हम लोग ने इतना वर्टिकल कोई कैंडल देखा है, इतना बड़ा कोई विक देखा है इन द पास्ट फ्यू मंथ्स एटलीस्ट. सो इफ आई जस्ट सी, आई थिंक पॉसिबली ये वाला थोड़ा बड़ा विक था. सर्टनली ऐसे टाइप का कैंडल तो आई डोंट थिंक हम लोग ने देखा है, विच इज क्वाइट इंटरेस्टिंग टू मी. नाउ इफ आई गो टू द 15 मिनट चार्ट, ठीक है, दिस हेल्प्स अस पुट थिंग्स इनटू पर्सपेक्टिव मच बेटर. सो 21st September started right here. ठीक है, यहाँ से चालू हुआ है, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट इट केम डाउन. नाउ इट सॉ फेयरली लिनियर राइज, ये और ये दोनों निफ्टी में भी सॉर्ट ऑफ हिकअप्स आ गए थे. पॉसिबली यहाँ पे आप बैंक निफ्टी में भी स्टॉप आउट हो गए होते. अगर हो गए होते तो पॉसिबली 37,000 रीटेस्ट पे गए होते, एंड देन it went up around 300 points after that. So I think that was very interesting. Especially this was very important because यहाँ पे previous close को तोड़ पाया था, and again it's like a V shape recovery, which is always very interesting to see. So in that respect, I don't know EOD basis पे क्या हालत है निफ्टी बैंक निफ्टी की, फटाफट से देख लेते हैं. EOD basis पे we can see Nifty is up almost 1%, Bank Nifty is up just 0.24, but we can see कितना difference है. Nifty, ठीक है, इतना ज़्यादा रिकवर किया था, बट देन उतना गिरा भी नहीं था. बट मोस्ट इम्प्रेसिवली बैंक निफ्टी बहुत गिरा था और उसके बाद पूरा रिकवर कर लिया. सो आई थिंक दैट इज़ अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग difference or distinction that we can say. So वो है व्यू मेरा. Now in terms of resistance levels, clearly 37,400 जितना तो होगा ही resistance. I mean, that's pretty evident on the chart. Obviously आज का high भी हो सकता है, but overall I feel on a broader scale 37,700 is the key level here, because again that's the previous all-time high that we have to break. So let's see how that goes. Now coming to the top stocks. Top stocks में हम लोग क्या देख सकते हैं? It's a higher low, but it's like an inside bar candle. Reliance में not much going on, to be very honest. 27 70 2370 का ये जो लेवल है, ये बेस जैसा, आई थिंक दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू बी हेल्ड. वो अगर कर लेता है तो शायद वी कुड सी सम गुड मूव्स हैपनिंग. आई बिलीव दिस इज द एक्सटेंशन और रिट्रेसमेंट किधर है. हाँ, देयर इट इज. सो दिस इज एक्चुअली द प्रीवियस ATH लेवल. Previous ATH level अगर hold कर पाता है, then Reliance will be good. If we look at the RSI, we're seeing this. ठीक है, so let's see. Again, not very important. Moving averages भी for today's sake I'm not adding, because the market is still pretty high. So only on stocks where I feel it's important I'll add it. Next up is HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank काफ़ी नीचे आया था, 1530 से actually bounce हुआ. We can see the low is 1528.95. So dot at that level, which is honestly pretty cool to see. And if we actually look at the difference between low and close, we can see it's around just under 30 points, 25 points jitna, which is actually pretty significant, right? That's like 1-2%, which is again pretty significant, I would say. So moving averages देखते हैं, because I suspect it might be something. हाँ, we can see 20 moving averages के नीचे है. 50 is at 1515. So let's see how that goes. Next up is Infosys. Infosys का moving average का honestly उतना कुछ मतलब नहीं बनता. It's still stuck in this range. Okay, so if I mark it here, we can see it's like stuck in this range. So ये range again, I feel it's normal, natural है. और इतना sharply rally किया है तो होगा ही. In terms of levels, I think this level appears to have been cleared, but then this level is right here, 1730 का. देखते हैं कैसा चलता है. 1744 still remains to be a very important level in my view. And then we have 1670, approximately 1670 1680, वो zone से जिधर buying चालू हो रहा है. Next up is HDFC. HDFC, we can see it has managed to close just edging above 2770. 2770 काफ़ी important level है. We've spoken about that in the past as well. But again, overall इतना reassuring candle नहीं है, except unless we look at the distance from the low to the close. I know I'm saying that a lot, but it needs to be said, because 50 points का difference है. 50 points is obviously quite a lot. It's around 1.5%, which is very significant in my view. That alone has the power to move Nifty by a fair margin, I would say. Same goes for Bank Nifty. Same goes for HDFC Bank rather. बैंक निफ्टी दोनों पे काफ़ी सिग्निफिकेंट इम्पैक्ट आता है उसका, बिकॉज 1.5% इन दैट can basically lead to a fairly significant move. Next up is ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank, may we can see the candle is very similar to Bank Nifty's actually. Again, the distance between the low and the close is very significant, very big. Or 711 pe hai abhi, which is fine. It's a fair number. And the low that it made was actually well below 700, which is very odd to see. Moving average dalte hain just to get an idea, and we can see it's actually at the 50 MA dot. Right, 693.82 is the 50 MA, and we can see the low that made was 694.4. So exactly at that area, HDFC is right at the 20 MA. So let's see how that goes. Next up is Kotak Bank. Kotak Bank में earlier we used to use moving averages a lot. Now I don't think there is much point to. Interestingly, Kotak Bank में हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि it is still in this zone, right? Still in this zone, very much in this zone. Or it is actually the highest close that we've seen for Kotak Bank. Is it ever? Is this the highest ever close? I doubt it. This is where it closed, and no, it's not the highest ever close, but it's right up there. Top 5 closes mein to hoga hi Kotak Bank ka, which is very very good. Obviously, despite the market retesting lower levels today, Kotak actually just retested 2000 by a little bit. 4 points retest kiya hai sir, which is I think pretty decent overall if you look at how far it's come. अगर वीक होता तो शायद पूरा ही नीचे आ जाता. That said, it did not go up by that much because market में थोड़ी I think weakness थी, but ठीक है, I think that is weakness थी मतलब starting में, उसके बाद तो recover कर लिया, but I think that is understandable. नेक्स्ट अप इज एसबीआई। एसबीआई हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि ये जो 435 का हम लोग ने जो जोन दैट वीव मेड, उधर से ही रिटेस्ट करके आया है, राइट? आई एक्सटेंडेड दैट एंड ओवरऑल इट लुक्स फेयरली डिसेंट, आई वुड से 3 पॉइंट अवे फ्रॉम दैट लेवल. सो honestly it is at these kind of dips that to me in my view makes sense to accumulate these good top tier stocks. ICICI बैंक भी 50 MA के आसपास नहीं दिखता उतने टाइम, especially when it's rallying. So when these sort of unexpected dips, unexpected if you can call it that, happen, I think that's a pretty decent time to look into adding. Next up is Axis Bank, very similar to Bank Nifty yet again, and we can see 780 he retest kiya tha, low being 772. So again, we're seeing that very common across banks. Now coming to a few stocks in general. ठीक है, जनरल स्टॉक्स के बारे में बात कर लेते हैं, एंड आई शो यू माय वॉच लिस्ट. सो यू कैन सी टॉप राइट कॉर्नर पे हियर वेयर माय कर्सर इज. एंड आज दो स्टॉक मेरे आई कैच किया, वो है ओ एन जी सी विच इज़ अप अराउंड 5.2%, and next up is Oil India, which is up around 7%. So both stocks are up very sharply, very good. And apart from that, Glenmark is up, Oro Pharma is up. So a few good, well-performing stocks. But some of my weekly analysis watch list has not really performed well. So you can see here, at least yet. So Venky's was one 3000, just barely kiya hai. Actually, it was below 3000 for majority of the day. And ultimately I have actually taken a trade in Force Motors. So you can see Force Motors here, 1459 is the closing. If we look at the moving average, we can see it's at right at 50 MA, which is I think a fair level for Force Motors. I think there's quite a lot going on. October may, I believe there's a launch of the Force Gurkha as well. So let's see, appears to be a decent product, but not that it affects my trade in any way, because product launch is not really a trade basis for swing and positional. Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions, feedback, and that's it for this one. See you the next time. Happy trading.